Get over here. Welcome to chess, ladies and gentlemen. For those of you that don't know, man, this is from Mortal Kombat. I watched it when I was a little kid. I don't think you guys have seen that movie, though, man. I think I'm the only one, man. I do have the final game for you right now. This is the bullet game number 22 between Dennis Lazavik and Wesley So coming at you. So, of course, all my people from the Philippines, I will say, Maraming Salamat. Anybody who is coming from Belarus, I will say, Jiakui. I think that's how you say it correctly. Jiakui. Okay, anyways. Let me know if I need to, like, kind of tweak the pronunciation on it. But, man, if you guys are ready to go, man, let's take a look at for this game, son. All right, man, so we got D4, knight to F6. C4, E6, knight to F3. It's looking a lot like how I like to play. We got the move D5, knight goes to C3, and then we do see bishop B4. And we have the Ragozin variation of the Queen's Gambit decline. Now, have you guys ever watched like a chess video and you kind of see the moves getting played, kind of like how you play yourself, and you're like, hey, this is my stuff. Yeah, that's me. I play this from both sides of the board. I do like this Ragozin. I like sharp openings. I'm definitely like a sharp type player. I'm not too risky, but I mean, I like the sharp, you know, forceful type play. We do see bishop going to G5. And so for a lot of you guys that have either played this before or, you know, who have kind of kept up with this type of opening, you notice that, you know, black and white are fighting for the very same thing, and that is control over the E4 square. So you see this knight is pinned down to the queen, not allowing the knight to plop down. This bishop, this knight is pinned to the king, what we like to call an absolute pin, and you do not have influence on this E4 square. What white would really love to do is just kind of get in the E4 move. Let's say this bishop doesn't exist, or it's like way over here or something like that, and then you can recapture, you can add some pressure, stuff like that. So, you know, that's what both players are kind of fighting for and against. We got the move H6, bishop takes, queen takes. So white has won, you know, the battle for this E4 square, but they still can't quite push it yet because they do have this knight, like I said, pinned down to the king. And after you would see something like this, now you just inconvenienced your knight. So, you know, there's a certain way you got to kind of go about doing things. We do see the move E3. We got castles up by black. We do see rook to C1. This is definitely one of the best moves. You just are anticipating at some point that this file will become half open or open. It's not absolutely necessary. You can definitely take the structural damage if you want, because of this pawn lock and the fact that this C pawn is going to be going away at some point anyway. So you're going to be good to go either way, kind of how you want to do it. We do see pawn taking C4, bishop taking C4, and then we see C5. The mysterious pawn move. Nah, I mean, those of you guys that have seen this stuff before, I mean, you know, white has, let's back up one. You know, white definitely has like a little bit more preferable center presence. They definitely have the ability to start kind of pushing pawns and breaking things open. So definitely one of the way to combat that is going to be the move C5. So it's not so mysterious. We got pawn taking C5, knight going to D7. And this is kind of like an interesting, like delayed kind of take back. You know, you can definitely take with bishop initially. But I mean, you also definitely have this option as well. And this allows Lazavik to actually play like kind of a cute move. There's two reasons behind him playing this move. Number one, you're losing the C pawn no matter how you slice it. I mean, so you kind of would want to choose, you know, do you want to just lose it on C5, or do you want to try to maybe do something with it dynamically? Like I always tell you guys, when you are playing a chess game, if you're going to be losing a piece anyway, I mean, you know, go ahead and try to see if you can, you know, go down swinging, throw it away with some style or something like that. So we do see the move C6, and you kind of present a little bit of an issue for black. You know, you can't just kind of move the knight anywhere, because then you're going to be able to, you know, kind of get a pawn up. So you really kind of want to take this back like we see in the game. And so this does isolate a pawn, but it does half open this file. So it does allow black to kind of put a little bit of pressure on your situation. So you see these players are really good at kind of, you know, taking advantage of these things. We got castles by white. Rook goes to B8, like I said a second ago. We got queen going over to E2. There is a phantom threat on this square right here, so we're just making sure we defend it. Plus, we're defending the bishop anyway. Everything is good to go. We got knight going to E5. And, I mean, it's kind of a tough thing to try to defend here. You don't want to allow knight taking and queen taking, and then your structure is somewhat damaged. You know, black definitely does have both bishops, so it can be a little bit dicey for you. So that is why we see knight taking e5 and then queen taking e5. We got rook f to d1. And then we see the novelty of the game, and that is bishop to b7. Very logical move. You know, you kind of have to get this bishop somewhere. Obviously, it wasn't going to live a very long life on a6. And bishop to d7, it was going to die also. So this is kind of like one of the only moves that you can make with the bishop. We got the move a3. We do see bishop going back to e7. And then we see rook to d7. Nah, man, the rook's on the 7, man. That's the end of the game, bro. Nah, I'm playing. It's not the end of the game. It's a good move. I mean, it's always a move that you should consider in your games, but the game is not over. This bishop definitely can move, and this bishop is protected. So you're all good, bro. So, like, let's calm down. Let's chill. We do see bishop going to f6. We got rook c to d1. So now white is basically saying, I'm definitely trying to absolutely take over this entire open file. We do see the move a5, but this is actually a blunder. And I wonder if you can tell me why. We have reached a position that there is a very, very monster killer move in the position, and Lazavik actually finds the move. If you want to pause the video and try to find that move, go ahead and do so. Okay, so before we make the move a5, if you're Wesley So, you should kind of notice in this position that your queen, it doesn't have a lot of real estate, right? I mean, it's like, how many moves can you really make? I mean, you can make this move. I mean, you got f4 coming up, you know, but there isn't just like a whole, I mean, in this position, there is a considerable, like, let's say, like, amount of moves that you can make, right? But what happens after you play the move a5? You take probably one of the best squares away from your queen as far as flight squares is concerned. So you have greatly reduced your queen's ability to really kind of move around. At the moment, you kind of have these two squares and you have this square. But we definitely can cut down on that very severely. And we see Lazavik actually go the move f4. And like I said, you know, black really doesn't have a whole lot of squares to go to with this queen. I mean, you kind of have f5 and you have this move right here. You're going to get knocked around a little bit more if you go to f5. So we'll just kind of like take a look at both of those moves. What we actually see in the game is queen to c5. And this does allow Lazavik to go knight to e4. We are now placing an attack on both of these pieces. And we see queen going over to f5. And we actually see after knight going to d6, this is the point that Wesley So resigns the game. It's a pretty miniature game. It's crazy because, I mean, it looked pretty dead even the entire game. And then a5 just kind of sealed the entire deal. And you really don't have any good options if you're here. Like I was saying, you know, the queen really doesn't have any moves to make. So let's just say, for example, you make like one of the only moves you can make in the position. I mean, you're just dropping an entire piece after knight takes b7. And now rook to d7 is like the craziest move in the game. Because now you are protecting this knight right here and hitting the queen. So this is absolutely not where you want to be. But like I said, backing up in the position. After we see f4, you do have another opportunity. You do have queen to f5. The problem with queen to f5 is it kind of allows some of the similar ideas, but it basically opens your king. So we would be looking at bishop to d3, then you got to go queen to c5. It's the only move. You would have knight to e4, the same idea as before. And you might be thinking, okay, man, I'm going to go queen to b6. Like, I got some, like, flight squares going on. I got a little bit of pressure on this pawn right here, but you would be looking at knight taking f6 with check, and then the pawn would take, queen would go to g4. You got king sliding over to h8, and this is the only move. And then you actually have not only a defensive move, but then an attacking move also, because you are trying to see if you can hit this h6 pawn. So you would be looking at queen to h3. King to g7 is basically the only move, and you would be taking on e6, and you are protecting this pawn right here. You're taking advantage of this pin. And the major problem that you have in this position is, how do you stop queen to f5, bro? You don't really have a whole lot of options. I mean, you can always like move a rook over here to kind of attack, but I mean, queen to f5 is going to be coming, and you're not worried about any somethings here. You are good to go. So, I mean, queen to h7 checkmate after this maneuver is, I mean, almost unavoidable. You're going to have to start throwing some material away, homie. I don't know what you're going to be doing, bro. So, in light of all of that, that is why after knight to d6, you know, you did see Wesley So resign the game. So, you know, Lazavik kind of got a little bit of revenge, but Wesley So still won the match 12-10. So he has advanced forward So tomorrow they start playing some more stuff. So we're going to see kind of what they got going on tomorrow. He might play, but if not, I'm going to go ahead and try to cover, you know, whatever game, you know, I can kind of cover. I've been trying to cover everything across the board, like each different matchup. So I'm going to see what I can cover tomorrow. But I appreciate everybody very much for stopping by. Maraming salamat na king makaibigan po sa nanonood ng king mga video. Masaya ko makita kang muli ingat lagi mabuting pagbati to you. Almasal tayo. I'm a little hungry myself. I'm gonna do mine is gonna be mag lunch na tayo for y'all. Cause it is after like a little bit late afternoon for me. Let me see. Jackie. I'm pretty sure that's how you say it, man. I'm gonna have to like do some more training on it, but I appreciate you guys very much, and I'm gonna see y'all next time.